Hi, and welcome to the VOILA Method podcast, Solutions for the Mind, Body, and Soul with Joel Crandall, the creator and developer of the VOILA Method. The VOILA Method bridges the gap between the complex, making it simple, using an assessment and a treatment protocol that aligns the mind, the body, and the spirit. VOILA Method is more than a technique. It's a lifestyle to help you as a practitioner and your client.
Welcome to the VOILA podcast, and today my guest is Oisin Reynolds from Ireland, who now lives in North Vancouver. Thank you so much for joining me, Oisin.
Thank you for having me, Joel. Much appreciated.
It's good to see you, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, not only to hear that wonderful accent.
I'll stay very quiet for the whole thing. I'll ask the questions today.
You're Irish. You can't stay quiet.
I'll try. Yeah.
But you've been in this VOILA journey here for how long now?
It will be just over 2 years now.
Just over 2 years, right?
Yeah.
It was like October?
Yeah. I
Right?
took the first one in February 2016.
February
So,
2016.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
3 weeks.
Yeah. And I remember how much a hard time I had saying your name until you finally got it for me. So,
You call me the supermodel or something like that.
yes, because you went by one name. That's why.
Yeah.
We just call you the
Yeah,
supermodel.
it's been a long time coming, that course. I think I tried to get to it like 6 or 7 months beforehand, even further. Ben Shorter had put me onto it.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, that course couldn't come soon enough.
Yeah. So explain a little bit to the audience of like why you wanted to take the course and kind of what your journey has been since.
So more or less, like I started personal training on a basic level at the age of 15, opened a gym at 18, opened a second one at 22, then moved to Vancouver, and I was training more and more one-on-one stuff. There's a lot of money in Vancouver, so personal training isn't like, it's really commonplace. And I was following Kelly Starrett at the time from CrossFit. That's what my initial like big surge into trying to learn more. And so having limited success, I don't know if I could say it in the podcast, but went to neurokinetic therapy and stuff like that. Went to as many courses as possible because Ben was also researching the same thing and just trying to find out more. And what we're finding with our courses was that we'd get limited success for the first like maybe 3-4 weeks, and then there'd be a hole, something wouldn't add up, or we couldn't replicate what we replicated in the classroom. And we were finding that same result together. And then Ben found VOILA, and he took it. I was waiting to take it. So when I went into the first day, it wasn't overwhelming. I had an idea of what was to come.
He had done a session or two with you prior, hadn't
he kind of showed me the ins and outs, and like, I'd already kind of had that aha moment with the bicep tendon, because we'd had all these shoulder injuries. Oh, let's put a ball into your pec minor and make you replicate Jesus's last crucifix. So we kind of that, and when we were in NKT as well, the whole correcting the eyes with a cotton bud, those alarm bells started going off that this isn't the way. So I went to level 1. Actually brought one of my clients, Lily, who at the time knew zero about anatomy, zero about anything really. She came there looking for answers of her own, and well, we all got them. The first one, level 1, definitely just learning about intuition, and I never felt really all that comfortable making corrections before, and I hate to reference again, but NKT, we were doing like neck corrections on the second day, and I'd never done any sort of manual muscle testing, and I felt really uncomfortable, which isn't common for me, but at that moment was like, this doesn't feel right. Whereas the way you taught level 1, and it was just a simple process, everything just became simple, and the corrections within like a week or two after that, like a little bit of a fog after you go to the course, because it's a lot in the first day or two, but then once that clears and you start to trust your testing, there's nothing off limits, really.
Right.
And I think the way, and basically, voila is the key. You can be of any background. You could be physio, chiro, whatever it is. NKT will just give you a yes or no answer to whatever it is you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without going too deep into what voila is. But yeah, that's what I take from it. And then, yeah, so you do level 1, then 1.5, you start to add more and more, and those you start to have your own questions. And the beautiful thing I find with voila is when your questions start becoming limited, that next course is just around the corner,
right?
And then it's that aha moment all over again, like
yeah.
without fail.
Yeah, and we try to time them out, so like when those questions start hitting, boom, the next one's there for you.
Yeah. And the good thing is, like, when you find this like superpower, this thing that, you know, all my dreams of being a professional were to heal people, and whatever that is, I don't care what it is. If I have to do a rain dance on one leg, whatever, I'll do it in order to get people better. And voila, just answered every single one of those questions, just from a professional standpoint, to actually be able to follow through with what you're saying you can do for people. With
right now, one of those classes, you have to refresh my memory here, Oisin, was you were in a bike accident. Was it before 1 or was it before 1.5?
Yeah, I think it might have been 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 1.5. Yeah, I had no wrist injury.
Yeah.
I've been knocked out 5 times on the North Shore on my bicycle, so don't cycle on the North Shore. Story.
Good information for us tourists.
Yeah, I've been looking for that wrist injury because I'd had a few, and from sport, younger, playing curling and rugby and stuff like that. Yeah, that wrist had broken a few times, and I think I'd gone to the hospital with it, and X-rays, no sign of breaks or anything like that, but constant pain, chronic. And yeah, I think it was Taylor. It didn't happen at level 1.5. I think it was a couple of weeks later I went to see Taylor, and she extracted it using level 2. And I think that's the beautiful thing about with voila, you're always around the community. The community it's a think tank, right? Everyone's coming together, banding together, which you don't see on other forums for healing. And yeah, within a couple of weeks, you're always going to come back to someone who's done voila, and you're going to exchange your questions, what's working for you. And like voila is what, 7 or 8 years old now? I don't even know.
4.
There you go. But it seems like even from level 1, because everyone comes together as a group, it evolves from us as practitioners, and I think that's filtered through to you, where you've also gotten a few new questions, and as a result,
absolutely,
level 1's changed.
Yeah,
it's
I learn from every class I teach.
I learn from every client I work with.
Exactly.
Like you have to evolve.
Right, and that's the attitude that we instill with voila, right? It's like, we're not here to fix you. What are you here to teach me?
Yeah.
And explain to the people, because I try to explain to people, but people are tuning me out now. So explain to them like what that changes, what difference it makes to do that.
It's the easiest way to describe the ultimate change just in the first levels, because level 2 is a different planet altogether. Level 1 feels like you're going into like for me, sports. I always bring it back to sports. It feels like I'm going to play a game of sports, and I've got a big team behind me, and there's nothing but confidence in that, like prep, where I can't miss. And if there's any doubt, there's a whole village of people behind me, like not for any selfish purpose, like offering to support and wanting to like further the answers and the questions, and it's what I've always wanted from the fitness industry as a whole. No secrets. We should be learning together, because we're ultimately trying to heal people in whatever like capacity it is. To keep a question from someone else or something you've learned is criminal, right?
Yes.
in a sense.
It really is, and I want to get further on into your journey, but before we do that, I would love, because I love what you're doing with VOILA and where you've taken it, working with the senior citizens who really need the help.
So yeah, it's a really interesting one. So that all stemmed from what I do. I'm a postural specialist, so I can communicate how to get in touch with your muscle, use them over and over again in the same position. So sitting, standing, walking, running. Nobody ever teaches you real structure. You're just told to sit up at the dinner table, and that's as much as you get. I put it into the point where your muscle has to contract. You have to feel it. It's just working with motor neurons. So the biggest people that I can affect with this are, well, one, dentistry, because I work with a lot of Persian dentists, specifically because of that position they're in, holding breath all day, and the emotional side that they don't understand, where they're inflicting pain on someone for 10, 12 hours. It's actually the highest suicide rate of the medical industry. So that's one side. The other one is the seniors, and it's the same thing. I went into an osteofit class, and you have 70-plus-year-olds jumping on the spot, maybe doing some rotations of the shoulders and hips, and yeah, fantastic. You're trying to keep the joints that are most affected by osteoporosis or most prone to damage lubricated, but it's not actually doing anything. So my idea was to teach what I teach to everyone else, which is structure, which is getting your glutes, abs, chin and shoulders into the right position so you can execute a move. Where VOILA came into that was, I have so many seniors come to me literally every day, because I'm working in about 12 of them now, saying, I went to the doctor, my hip is sore, and they just told me it's because I'm old. And that's the heartbreaker for me, because I got into this partly because I grew up next door to my grandmother. Drove her nuts. Yeah. Tried to put up with me for like 10 years. But yeah, because I see her sitting all the time, and the deterioration and you know, the mind going with it, neurodegenerative diseases, I've got this beautiful opportunity where they trust me from a physical point of view. Like, I'm 29. I have no right to tell someone who's in their 70s how to walk. Like, you know, I have to make a case that I know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, with what I do, it has an instant effect from a structural point of view. But now I have this incredible tool to take away the other pain. So I just get seniors to stay after the class. I usually take them in pairs, and it's the VOILA method. What hurts, we go through it, and it doesn't matter what it is. When it gets to the emotional side of things, which is something that I would never have since doing level 2 and finding spirituality and everything else in the space of, like, it feels like 10 years, but it was probably a week.
Right, because you did level 2 in June, so yeah, 4 months ago,
and nothing happened initially. It was like a week or two after the course where I lost track of time, space, pretty much everything. And all of a sudden, I'm having conversations that a year or two ago I would have said, this is absolute nonsense, I don't believe in any of this bullshit, right? This is way too far out there for me. And then suddenly I go to Hawaii, and I'm now talking to people about aliens. I'm like, John, this is all right. This is so weird. And yeah, just that moment. Now when I'm working with seniors or just general public, and I go, okay, so I'm actually going to balance your chakras. Is that okay? Then they go, oh yeah, like I have a feeling it's the 6th or the 7th. Like, am I the last one to this? I thought I was the pioneer for like 2 hours, and then suddenly some 80-year-old is telling me that my second chakra might go. It's kind of beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
Another like byproduct of this, where I always thought if I go down this this path of spirituality, whatever, I'm gonna have to buy myself a dream catcher, all this stuff.
Right.
I'm still one of the boys. I can still party. I can do whatever. But then when it comes to VOILA, everything just that focus. It's that as long as all I care about is healing the person in front of me, VOILA does it. Like,
and you know, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you. I can remember when you came back from Hawaii, I think we talked for like 3 hours, and it felt like 15 minutes, you know, but it was like, look at the clock, I'm like, wow, right? But it was also too, forgot exactly what I was going with that, but just the way you are, this is where I was going, was, everybody has that stigma that, you got to be crunchy granola, you don't wash your hair, you don't take a shower, and you have a dream catcher everywhere, right?
I just do that because I'm unhygienic. It's not
Right.
yeah.
Right. But that's one of the reasons for talking with you, is to show you don't have to be, wearing tie-dye shirts and going without deodorant or whatever. It's anyone can do this. Anyone can do this.
Joel, I screamed at the top of my voice at an 11-year-old hockey player yesterday. We're cool, right? We're not out in the woods barefoot or anything like that. We're just normal people. It brings a whole new world, and it's not like you see different things in the streets. It's just different things happen. One absolute, and talk to any VOILA practitioner, or I think maybe talk to anyone who's found spirituality. I guess I actually don't know enough about it, but time stops entirely. In the last 2 years, it honestly feels like I've had a second or a third lifetime just in those 2 years, where I can recall everything that happened the years before, and in the last 2 years, there's just been too much. Like, too much has changed. To the point where I actually take it for granted that 2 years ago, I did not have this ability to heal pain.
Right, and that's why I have to ask you, when did you take the seminar? It's because it seems so long ago, but it was only 2 years ago. But it's how, connecting with somebody on a totally different level. It's not like, how's the weather,
Yeah, it's that, and like when you're in, especially level 2, but when you're in the class, and we've talked about this a few times, me and you sat back and watched everyone work on each other, and to see people who were strangers a day before openly crying and just loving each other, like, without sounding too corny, but that was insane. That's what I took from level 2, was the community and that love. And then 2 weeks later, I by myself had that mind-blowing moment that changed everything. But
and you got it really fast. It takes most people 6 months to a year to process that class. And that's why I was so excited when you posted about, going to Hawaii and you're on the flight back. And I think you balanced somebody on the plane. I was like,
there's babies crying on the plane. I kept doing, like, probably coincidence that they stopped crying. Most likely.
Not a coincidence.
Stand up on the plane. You're welcome, everybody. But it also changes your compassion, because there's always a bit of ego with stuff. There always is, like, no matter what. But I don't think you can practice VOILA with ego.
Right? We're human.
And that has filtered into my life in places where I was definitely not as good as I could be. Ask my ex-girlfriends, right? VOILA has definitely changed some of those aspects.
We were going to do a podcast with all your ex-girlfriends. We just didn't have enough time.
No, they don't speak English either, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just this global change.
Explain that a little bit more if you can. I know it's difficult.
Yeah, it's like you've got a heightened awareness of things that are happening, and just this, it's almost like this brashness where if you really want something, just honestly asking for it or trying to attract it, by continuously doing what I would consider good, which is just, for me anyway, the aim is to heal everyone around me. Don't really care all that much about myself. I'm fine. I came into VOILA without anything really there, as in I had no moments of a childhood, or I was not coming into VOILA hurt, where people who go to, say, Landmark or something like that go in to try and fix their own stuff and then become a practitioner afterwards. I was fortunate to have nothing in the background, so I didn't have one of those aha moments at the time, but even though have no real big past trauma or anything like that, voila, just it gives you this compassion towards other people in a completely different way. Even though you can't empathize or sympathize with them, your empathy just goes through the roof, and I think that's what brings you to the answer way, way quicker.
That's a huge distinction you just brought up: sympathy versus empathy.
Yeah.
That's a huge distinction. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before. So that was a stroke of genius and brilliance there, Oisin. And I think that just kind of came out. You didn't even think of it.
No, that's it, but that's what it is. I mean, like 2 days ago, a woman who's helped me with business call or text me just saying, "I'm really having trouble breathing. I have this the odd time." I did an emotional correction. I called her and says, this usually lasts for 5 or 6 days. It's gone after just thinking of the emotion.
Right.
And it's at the point now where, like, half the time I don't believe him. Like, this is bullshit. There's no way. She's winding me up. But it's continuous. Like,
and that's the attitude I took when I was developing this. Like, there's no way this could work, right? And I kept trying to find ways to show me it didn't work. And I'm 4 years in, I haven't found it yet.
Well, that's the thing, right? That was that crossroads for me. I turned my back on the Catholic Church at the age of 8 or 9. Hated it. Argued with my dad every day, as every young Catholic boy does. Why don't you go to church, etc. But that was that crossroads for me, where I'm all science, atheist,
Mm-hmm.
yelling it down your throat as you should not, and then I hit this point where everything just softens, and after reading like 10 pages of the Kundalini book mixed with voila, everything just changed. Your perception of everything changed. You forgive things that you didn't know were there. You find things within yourself that you didn't know were there, and to step out of them could not be easier.
It's not painful, is it?
No, there's no pain. And that's kind of my thing for other people. I'm not afraid of your demons. Whatever your demons are, bring them on. Whatever you have, just I don't care. Like, and again, it's not from a point of being cocky. I'm gonna try whatever I can.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I can to heal someone.
You know what's really interesting with that is I had somebody message me and they're like, "I got something going on. I can't figure it out," and I'm like, "Well, you got an entity attached, so we need to take care of that." He's like, "Well, should I empty the house? Should I like be by myself?" I'm like, "No, it's not scary. It's no big deal." And he goes, "But I had somebody try to do it before, and all hell broke loose." I'm like, "No, it's not gonna be that. It's not gonna be anything like that. It's not difficult at all." And there ended up being 2 that we had to talk to, and boom, took care of things. And he just sent me a message like, "This is pure bliss."
Yeah.
You know, and one of the women came back to him and said, and brought his wife along and just thanked him. And it was just like, and he was just like, "What the hell?" You know, I'm like,
and you didn't have to sit in a room for 10 hours for 3 days straight to break down what you want in life. It's just a yes and no. What do you want?
Yeah, like, and we did it in 45 minutes. You know.
But that was actually one thing I wanted to go back to the seniors thing that you taught me that I hadn't put together before. And again, with voila, I think I talked to Ben about this. With voila, let's say you're a physiotherapist and you want to get another course, and you have to do 2-weekend course, whatever, to build your credits and get that extra skill, like whether it's IMS or whatever. With voila, to learn more, you just have to talk to someone else that does voila and ask a different question. As soon as that a different question comes into your brain, you now have another tool.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. You walk away from just a conversation with a whole new question that will change your practice, the way you practice it forever. That for me is the most amazing part.
Can you explain on how it's kind of changed your sessions?
How voila has changed my sessions?
Sure.
Well, for instance, I have a team of 30 hockey players who are 14 and 15 years old
Fun.
who get injured all the time.
Yep.
We're doing a strength session. Someone says, my knee really hurts. All 29 other people working away in the space of 30 seconds, that pain is gone and they're back training. That's it. Like, you know, and you talk to us in VOILA, like, set the scene, make sure it's nice and quiet, dark. And,
but you can't. You hung hockey boys.
You know, whispering emotional corrections while I got like 2 miles back. That, and then like, you know, just that everyday pain. For me, walking through the gym and I see someone like with a clear bicep tendon, I'm like, look, just come here. And I don't really care about the money, or if someone's bicep tendon is out,
just put it back in,
and it takes me 2 seconds to do it.
Right.
I'm gonna feel like a bit of an asshole for not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I try to get across to trainers, right? Is when you're in a gym or you're working out with your client or you're trying to get them to do a movement, all you have to do is balance their structure. Now they can do the movement, and they're going to maximize their performance.
So yeah, that level 1.5 for movement is, you know, it has to be structured that way. You have to get like an idea of what your testing is.
Yeah. Then
the movement is like the next light bulb, man. It's level 2. Jesus Christ, where do you even start with that? Like,
and that's still just touching the surface of the water.
And that's it. Like, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, I know this. I know nothing. I can do all this,
and I know that much.
Nada. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much. There's just every day is an opportunity for growth with VOILA. Like, if you're present enough, and I'll say this also. So I went to Hawaii, had my big spiritual awakening. We talked for hours.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 weeks later, that spark was kind of gone, and it's like, okay, so you actually really have to work on this now. It's not just, okay, Ben, you found God, cool, right, now everything's...
Well, the noise starts coming back in, right? It takes you away from it.
Well, not even that. You just... I think it's like you have to build up credits. Like, you have to go back. You have to read the other 20 pages of Kundalini that I missed, you know?
Right. Well, that's one of the things we say in the higher levels, right? The deeper you go, the deeper you go.
Absolutely.
You know, and each level is designed to take you deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's also designed to, we'll do it when you're ready.
Yeah, protect yourself. And that's, as eager as you are to get to the next one, it comes when it's supposed to. Yeah. And this is coming from someone who got stuck in Ireland and missed one because I left my PR card at home.
That's right.
Thanks for the refund, Joel. That was very nice of you. I came back pretty quick. Yeah, I missed 2 courses, and like, you know, I'm dying for the information, but it comes when it's supposed to.
Comes when it's supposed to. Yep.
Absolutely. It has. So I'm waiting for level 3.
Well, I know you're busy, and you probably got to run here pretty soon. What would you say to somebody that's thinking about taking the seminar?
Do it. Just do it and go in with no preconceived ideas. Just, if your goal is to heal people or yourself, don't let any of your bullshit get in the way. Just go in and say, right, this is what these guys are teaching. What I think doesn't really matter for the next 2 days. Just go with it. I thought it was crazy at the start. I don't believe in any weird stuff. Look at me now. And yeah, it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, so there's going to be there's going to be a class November 10th in Vancouver.
Okay, I'll help out. And yeah, if you want to help in Hawaii, you let me know, because I want to go back to Hawaii, please.
Yeah, we're looking for Hawaii for level 2 again, February.
February. Well, if you need another set of hands.
Be the end of February. That'd be awesome to have you there.
Over. And if you want a podcast again, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, we should have done the 3-hour conversation we
had. Oh, man, yeah. I'd love to hear it back, to be honest with you.
Right? Just to get you back into that flow again. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, look.
Yeah. So, Oisin, what's the best way that people can get a hold of you?
Sure, I'll get it back. We can do it.
Oops, I'm sorry.
I have a company called Simplify Movement. SIMPLFIY. Yeah, Simplify Movement. That's was it Simplify Movement voila.ca, and my name is Oisin Reynolds. There's not many of me in the world. North Vancouver.
Well, how do you spell Oisin?
It is Oisin or Eynolds. Little deer in Irish.
Perfect.
Joel, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you for your time, Oisin. I appreciate it. All right, buddy. Love you.
See you very soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Level 3. Bye-bye.